You're muted.
Oh, yeah.
Or you're talking to people in the background.
No, I'm muted. Today we are live both on YouTube and Twitter. Thanks for joining, everyone. Just wait.
You're muted.
Oh, yeah.
Or you're talking to people in the background.
No, I'm muted.
Oh, that was a delay. Yeah. All right.
Can everybody hear me very well now? Perfect. There was a little bit echo, to manage the live stream and both Zoom at the same time. GM111, Fran is on a flight today, so VJ will be joining as a judge today. And we are waiting for 2 more judges to join. Okay, cool. I think everyone is here now. Perfect. Thanks for joining today. Today's agenda, we are at demo day 3 of our builder program, Frontier Guild Season 3. I will just say today's agenda first is a quick intro about our builder program and also a quick intro of the judges who joined today. Right after that, each project will be presenting their progress and what they have built in the past 2 weeks. Each team has 10 minutes of presentation. And right after each presentation, there's Q&A session for judges to ask questions to our builders. All right, without further ado, let me first start with the first item on the agenda. Let me see if you can see my screen. Just a second. All right. Share again. There's a little small issue. And for everybody's information, we are streaming to YouTube and Twitter at the same time. Can everybody see my screen? Yep. Nobody answers? I assume you can see my screen.
Yes. Yes.
Cool. So first, let me give the general public the context about what is Superfluid Frontier Guild and where are we today. Superfluid Frontier Guild is a builder program launched by Superfluid to boost the ecosystem growth. The guild is not a hackathon, it's a community of elite builders working closely with the core team and working on the high impact ecosystem projects. Builders are rewarded with continuous funding. Every 2 weeks, there's a demo day to showcase their progress, and their funding flow rates will be adjusted based on judges' votes in the demo day. So all the judges today, you have the voting power. Right now, I'm going to show you the voting tool about our internal voting tool. So judges, once you log in with your wallet address, you will have 100 units each for the voting power. You can allocate to 4 projects out of these 6 projects, and then you can choose how much do you want to allocate to each 4 of them based on your preference. For judges who joined today for the first time, if you have questions later on, we can stay on the call and I can still walk you around on the front end. But normally it should be quite straightforward. So right now, without further ado, I will stop sharing my screen. I'll give the stage to all the projects today. Oh, sorry. Before going to the projects, there's the judge's introduction. Yes, sorry. We have VJ who's joining us in our internal team to replacing Fran. So VJ, maybe you can say something, and then I'll give the mic to the other two. Yeah.
That's good. Hey everyone, I'm VJ. I'm head of product at Superfluid. I've been at Superfluid for about 3.5 years. Before that was a consensus with Corbin, who's on the call as well, from 2017. Kind of been building and around the Ethereum space since 2014, 2015. But excited to be here and see what people are building with what we've, I guess, been working on the hood. Always inspiring to see people take some ideas that we've had or sort of intuitions we've had on things that might work and move them into reality. So thanks for having me.
Thanks, BJ, for joining. Now, Corbin and Graham, can you give an introduction about yourself?
Hi guys, I'm Corbin. I'm a longtime Ethereum builder for, gosh, going on about 10 years now. Been building in the streaming space and on top of Superfluid for the last few years. Streaming is one of those kind of financial primitives that is uniquely enabled by crypto, which is why it's so exciting. It's really just kind of waiting for one or a few viral apps to kind of break out. And then I think we would probably start seeing streaming everywhere. And maybe one of those apps we're going to get a demo of today. So nice to meet everyone.
Thanks for joining. It's a pleasure to have you. And Graham, yeah.
Hi. Excited to be here. Thanks for having me. My name is Graham. I've also been building in the Ethereum ecosystem for quite a while, about 8 years, starting with the DeFi wallet, where I think, I first came across the idea of streaming. So very excited about the use case, similar to Corbin. I think it'll be a great one for crypto in general. Just really excited to see what you guys build.
Thanks. Yeah, we are also very happy that you can join us today. All right. Now it's a stage for, I'll give the stage back to the other projects who want to volunteer to be the first one today. I think stream that fun if you want to. Mark, you're muted, I think.
Okay. Yeah, we can go, sure. So as a a bit of an introduction for those who don't know. Stream.fun is it's an AI agent token launcher that launches native super tokens, and it comes with built-in staking with streaming rewards, and it built-in automatic liquidity, which that aspect is quite similar to how Clanker does things. It leverages some of their open source code on that aspect right now, but it's built in a very modular way so that we can experiment and go in multiple directions going forward. So we have a version as part of the announcement. We decided, since the timing was right and the theme was right, to also submit this to the ETH Global Hackathon, the Agentic Ethereum, which was an AI-focused hackathon. The timing happened to just fit in, so Lee pushed me to do this, and I guess it was suggested to him by a Farcaster user, but I'm glad we did. Share my screen as I'm talking. But so we did that, and that pushed us to really get a lot done. And there were 518 teams, and we were named one of the 10 finalists. So that went well, and got a bit of attention on Friday during the finale. We did launch it to base mainnet, and got a bit more activity than you normally would with a hackathon, the presentation, because not as many people see it. But if you're in the finale and you're a finalist, a lot of people can end up seeing it. So what I have here is a version of the slides that we did there, modified and updated by Lee. And we'll go through it quickly. Some of these are similar to the ones we did 2 weeks ago, and some are new. So let's see. This is not going through, isn't this? Try this. Does not
I think
want
this is the final slide, so you want to go back to the beginning
Oh,
again.
that's why. Okay, thank you. That's exactly it. Okay, this is the first slide. Stream.fun, an AI super token launcher. So with a lot of token launchers, token launches look like this. It goes up quickly, and then very quickly it goes down to close to zero. And part of the reason is the only thing you can do is sell it. Then this is what often happens. So we set out to try to incentivize holding, and we do that via launching via an AI agent, and leaning in on social. So it's bootstrapped with Farcaster Social, built-in frames for sharing and spreading the word to your network. And we added this innovative aspect for staking for instant rewards, streaming real-time rewards powered by Superfluid. So you actually can earn a yield on your token immediately after it's deployed. So here's the technical architecture. Showed a version of this graph 2 weeks ago, but excuse me, getting over a little bit of the flu. So we got the main UI is the AI agent on Farcaster currently. You mentioned Stream, request a token, it replies back. We also have the Stream.fun website that enables staking, buying of the swapping of the token, and token discovery, finding different tokens and different staking APRs, seeing what you might want to buy and trade. On the server side, we have it powers the AI and the API, and all that interacts with a modular set of smart contracts on base. And so basically, the way this works is set up very modular. When any token is deployed, it goes through up to 4 modules. 2 of them are optional. And so the token factory is a required module, and in what we've launched, of course, is a native pure super token factory. But in theory, you could add different token factories in future. The post-deploy hook is an optional module that we're using to deploy the staking contracts. After that is the liquidity module, and that's creating pools at Uniswap B3 pools and locking them. And finally, there's a post liquidity hook that could be called to do something else that makes sense after the liquidity's been provisioned. We're not using that right now, but examples include sort of an initial team buy of the token once the pools are in place. It could be coded right into the deployment so that before, as part of that same transaction, you could be the first to buy into the pool, or anything else that might make sense there. So here's the progress so far. First demo day, we just, excuse me. First demo day, we announced the concept of the product and the initial diagrams. 2 weeks ago, we had a bit of a testnet launch and the dev API and the dev front end that we demoed at the time. And today, we've done a lot since then, especially getting ready for the hackathon that was due in the meantime. So we have the production launch, including the launch of the token. We had, I think, 150 plus tokens created from others who were checking it out. So we have features to swap, stake and unstake, claiming fees have now been added. Deployers of tokens get a share of the trading fees on Uniswap, and so you can claim those via the website now. As I mentioned, we were named one of the top 10 teams out of the 580 projects. On day one, we did $1 million in volume, which was quite something. And there's 100 plus stakers now. We launched with a version 1 Farcaster frame, but we have plans. So we made good progress in 2 weeks. And so the future, we're going to work iteration on the tokenomics. There's lots of different knobs that you can pull and settings that you can change here that kind of change participant behavior. So it's both daunting and it's exciting. But trying to figure out like the right recipes that resonate is a key goal. We've got lots of UI improvements to do. We want to do native UI swapping like right inside our website to do the swaps rather than sort of link to or put Uniswap into a module, which is what we're doing now. And a native staker dashboard. So we want to have a place where both as a trader and a staker, you can kind of see your portfolio and you can see all your stakes and make adjustments as you want. Further future marketing push, launcher dashboard, Twitter expansion, tokenomic seasons. There's this concept we've been talking about of having multiple seasons of stream, and each season would be the tokens that get launched would be a little different, and possibly with a associated leaderboard that comes with each season to sort of gamify it a bit. But I think that could be an interesting way to experiment together and incentivize people to come and try like the next season and have those tokens or the streaming parameters are different and try those out each time. And so I think that's a potential way of both maintaining interest and in exploring what the best recipes are, and then sort of doubling down on the things that are resonating and kind of finding perhaps a recipe or two that just works. So the keys to success and launcher differentiation, user-focused iteration. I like this term here, Lux surface area. So the idea here is that sometimes like a big breakout deployment is going to be a key. Some examples on Clanker or like Banker, Native, Doopy, there's a few others, but that's kind of hit that you want. Kind of like Corbin said, Superfluid's like one big app away from really breaking out there. It's a similar kind of a concept. So the idea is to get as much mind share as we can to try to expand that Lux surface area in the hopes of getting those hits. And so that is a presentation. I mean, I can show you, this is an example. I don't need to send it right now, but this is just a cast in Farcaster. I created this one yesterday, and in this example, I've got a bit of a story and some song lyrics and stuff. But the key thing is here at the end, you can see I'm saying at stream, please create a token called Beyond with the symbol Beyond, and I've attached the image. And so that's the key thing that the stream AI will key in on. And you can see there's a reply. Sure, I'll create a token called Beyond on the base network with the symbol Beyond. Let's push those elephants and reach for the stars. So here's the coin. And right now it replies with a Farcaster frame. So you can share it right now with your Farcaster followers, or you can hit the trade, and the trade will take it to the stream.fun website that we've been talking about. So you can see here, the total rewards distributed. There are 3 stakers of this one, not a lot of volume, $5. But you can see here some stats about this is brand new that Lee did quite recently. It's really good. It shows you your stake balance and stake balance here. But you can go to the homepage, and this is sort of a token discovery. You can see a bunch of tokens that have been created. And all the reward staking, you can see those numbers moving up. Here's one with the most activity, the stream token. You can see there's been 24-hour volume, not a lot, but there's been a bunch of trades here. And you can see here the example here of the staked balance and the amount received, the share of the pool in this case. You can buy and stake right from here. When you buy, kind of explain this a little bit, but it kind of opens Uniswap in this little modal, which is functional in some cases. I have a problem connecting my Rainbow wallet on desktop to this, but you can hit this button here and you pop Uniswap into its own frame and it works. But we'd like to get the trading rate sort of right on the page. Oh, there's a timer. Yeah, I forgot about the timer. So that's basically what we have and the things that we want to do. You hit this button and it shows like my stakes, and you can see all of them. Of course, this is the Superfluid Explorer. We're working on a native page in the UI that does something similar and shows them their stakes. Probably forgot a few things, but that's essentially stream.fun and where we are so far and where we're hoping to go next. Thanks.
Very cool. Thanks, Mark and Lee, for the great job. Yeah. And in questions from the judges here about the token launchpad with staking rewards and any inputs here. Yeah, Corbin.
Yeah. So, Mark, I saw this the other day from ETH Global, and I think it's so cool. I think, one of the big things that jumped out at me is the big problem that this solves. Because if you look at almost any kind of token launcher, token chart, a lot of it is a bit of a viral moment and then a bit of a trickle down to, to zero or close to that. And a lot of people think that streaming kind of rewards or streaming, airdrops can solve that problem, right? Because you don't end up with a one-time airdrop that causes a bunch of dumping pressure, kind of right around that a different event. We've seen it with Barachain and with a bunch of different, TGEs that have happened recently. So yeah, I guess my question would be, the token launcher space is quite saturated. You mentioned Clanker, obviously Pump Fun, DAOs.fun, a bunch of them. But have you thought about bringing this staking and streaming primitive to either other launch pads or have it as, like an inheritable smart contract? Any thoughts on that move, either, in the short term or in the future?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's possible to do that. I think everything is very modular. I've kind of set things up so that these modules can basically stand on their own. So like in theory, you could interact with the staking factory module without taking the other steps, and you could deploy a staking contract and get the rewards, and that would work. But so this kind of evolved. Initially, I created a version of the staking contract for DGen dogs for staking the Woof token. It's a bit of a pilot for this, but also it's a standalone example of it. Right. And so when I was going through that process, I kind of thought that even something like Clanker, like those are pretty vanilla ERC20 tokens, but you could, of course, wrap them and and stream them as rewards. So you could set up like a upgrade your Clanker to staking or deploy staking for your Clanker token. And, as long as you had enough of the token to fund the reward stream, it's really conceivable that you could do that with a few changes. I mean, right now, the contracts assume that the input token is a pure super token. So there'd be need a small change there to the factory that would, take in a regular ERC20, wrap it into a super token version. A few extra steps, but it's very doable. So I think that's a possibility. Yeah.
Love it.
Good point. Make it modular, always make it that adaptable to other launchpads. Other questions from the judges here?
I was wondering if you've thought through like specific use cases that like make a lot of sense for the staking, because a lot of the meme coins, the premise is that they are sort of based around attention, and so they should have these like spikes and crash, for like typical meme coins, because that's like the information in the market. But then I was wondering if there's like something more specific that you were thinking like this really makes sense for to try and like incentivize holding and like actually make the market move that direction.
Yeah, I mean, I think that initially when we thought of the staking, we kind of had this idea that, staking and you have to stake for like 90 days. But then we were like, that's so far from what the meme coin experience is right now that, nobody would stake because the tokens are almost always at zeros. And so we reduced it to 1 day of holding, which changes the dynamics a little bit, but it still sort of keeps the short-term fun and thrill of the meme coin trading. But I mean, given the possibilities of doing tokens that do have longer staking periods, 90, 100 days, you can conceive of modules that are a little bit more serious than fun, where there's a team allocation perhaps that's automatically staked, invested over a year, streaming over a year, rather than like a cliff. Things like that. And so there are probably some different niches for different goals, like builder teams, um, you know, solo builders perhaps wanting to launch a token, but doing so for the long term. And you can turn these knobs in different ways. The hold period's longer and things like that. And so I think there's lots of
maybe like crowdfunding through tokens as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Crowdfunding based on type of meme coin, but like we will not have scams like Libra, this type of thing. So your creator actually stakes already. So you are holding the token longer enough to improve people's confidence in your project. I think that could be also the working direction here. Great. Let's move on to the next project. Congratulations, guys, for the launching, and it's already in prod. Really proud of you. Next one. Who's gonna volunteer here? Yeah, Drew, go
I
ahead.
can go. Yeah,
Cool.
sure. Hello, guys. I'm Dhruv. Just quickly clear my screen and give my introduction. So, yeah, I'm Dhruv. I'm based out of India. I've been in the Web3 space for about 3 years now, and been a serial builder on Superfluid as well as on other products. Today, I'm presenting to you all Pipegate. It's third demo day, and like we have new judges, so I will just quickly give some more context on what idea is and how it works. So Pipegate is like, what if every API call could pay for itself? Or I like to call it as stablecoin powered APIs. And so I really believe in the idea, and I will tell you why. So like there are a bunch of problems. I am as a developer, myself, I use bunch of API keys from different providers like OpenAI, AWS, just giving examples, but yeah. And managing those multiple API keys, it's not the best experience. It's really bad for DevX. And like as a user who earns in crypto, in stable coins to be exact, I want to pay for those API subscription in stable coins, and that's not really possible right now. And like for the API providers who are providing these APIs, they have to pay like 3-4% fees to the payment gateways, which are like Stripe. And when they pay these fees, they are like also have to they also have restriction on like the countries they can accept fees from the payments from. And so And like on top of all of this, at the end, like they have to set up their own authentication service, which is like a custom database and custom authentication, which might have its own vulnerabilities. And there are a lot of API providers who don't really have a front end, like a interface where the user can come and subscribe. And so the onboarding is kind of messy. And so in this case, it's like self-serve onboarding. The idea is that you can monetize your API using stable coins, and blockchain is your kind of where you facilitate your payments, and it's the verifiable source of truth, like the database you can say regarding the payments and things like that. And authentication with wallet, which to be exact here, we mean that it will be using your private keys, the public key cryptography, to be able to verify the API caller. And I'll explain in how that works exactly. And so and there are no API keys here. It's all instant payments, and the SDKs and the crates kind of manage those things internally. To compare this with the traditional methods we already have, like let's say using API keys, using Stripe for payments, the setup is really complex in the normal traditional methods. Like you have to go through like set up their documentation, set up with them like KYCs and things like that. And then there is like also infrastructure cost for you to set up your whole authentication backend. And then the authentication latency is like in those cases 50 to 100 milliseconds. But in the case of Pipegate, it's quite similar. You might be wondering how that's possible. And there are some optimizations I did to make this happen, that the latency kind of goes sub 50 milliseconds as well during the verification of this call. And yeah, obviously there are no fees because it's already using blockchain and like open source stuff. And yeah, I mean, I built this, like launched it first time in December last year when it was mostly on like a testnet version. Now with Superfluid and like other payment methods, it's ready to go on mainnet. And like this is like kind of a graph of what I have the developments, downloads I have had on my SDKs, the client-side SDK and the server-side SDK. Let me explain you a bit more on how the architecture works to clarify. And so I'm taking example of streams as the payment method. And so there are a bunch of payment methods possible. You could use, like you could be streaming in real time, you could pay upfront, and you could like pay one time for each and every call. And so to explain the stream one, the process is very simple. You start a stream from the user's wallet to the provider's wallet. And that's all you do. Other than that, it's like a very simple SDK setup, which I will take you through in the demo. But the idea is that the server will be verifying your signatures where you will be attesting over your own address. It's kind of the identifier we use here to verify that you are streaming some certain amount of tokens from your wallet to the provider's wallet. And so when you make the API call, it will quickly verify the signatures and verify the on-chain stream and allow you to access to the particular intra. And there's a small addition which I built over the last 2-3 weeks, which was sort of a listener which will like just simply listen to all the on-chain events and cache the events and invalidate your particular stream in the local state so that you have a low latency here. It will not verify the whole thing again and again on the blockchain. And now let's actually go through the front end. So it's already up on like pipegate.xyz. You can just follow the documentation to set up your own SDK. And so it's a very simple command, npm install pipegate SDK. Let me take you through it and explain you on how that can work. So yeah, this is the interface I have. Basically, I have set up both the parties. I have set up a client-side entity and a server-side entity here. A server-side entity is basically a very basic Rust server. And the reason for choosing Rust was that many production-grade servers are written in Rust due to the features it offers. And so I set up a very, very basic server. And currently, like I'm acting as an API provider here. So all I need to do is like after setting up my server, I can just simply enter like cargo add pipegate, and that should just simply install yeah, pipegate, and that should just simply install pipegate in the entity. Once you install the pipegate, SDK in Rust, then you can simply configure. So configuration is what kind of governs how the verification will go through. And so in this case, you set up your RPC with the chain you would want to like accept payments on. You set up the recipient, basically the address where you want to receive the tokens, and the token you want to receive. So in this case, this is USDC on the base Sepolia testnet, and I'm working on it to make it mainnet friendly. And this is a flow rate. So flow rate is what exactly says like, okay, you're paying, in this case, 2 USDC per month to the particular recipient. And then there is a certain configuration, extra configuration, on which the information is in the documentation. So once you just simply create your configuration, you initialize a state, which is what the cache is. The cache will simply cache your verification status and then use it for the next time. And the last step is to just simply add the middleware layer, like a middleware on top of your API endpoint. That's it. But in these like simple steps, you are able to set up for a particular authentication and payment method for your server. And the last step is that in the last 2 weeks, I worked on API Hub, like it's sort of a marketplace where users can like practically list their APIs. The idea here is that anybody should be able to like discover the APIs which are created by open source developers, open source users, and like just discover them on the platform. And it's also like a way for them to subscribe to the APIs. And so to just easily like quickly go through on how it works, I as a developer, like I wouldn't want to use a front end. So the way to register here is like you can just simply make an API call from your CLI and that's it. And so I already have like this JSON I created, which contains all the information regarding my API endpoints, like whatever I offer and the payment information. I can hit the API endpoint to register my endpoint to the platform, and we have got the ID here. So this is the job of API provider in this case. Now, this will just simply reflect on the front end. So you can see that this is the API I just created, the My Awesome API. And now, let's say a user comes into this interface, they want to subscribe to the API. They can just simply click the API, and they can like see all the information. So it's like already not filled, but ideally you would have all the information filled up here. They can subscribe. So it is showing me that I have to subscribe for $2 per month to this particular address. And I can hit confirm. This will do a transaction on chain to start a stream from my wallet. I'm a user here, and I'm starting a stream to my provider wallet. And so that's it. You can complete that and download the JSON. So JSON is what contains the configuration in this case. And yeah, so that's the first step as an API user. When you subscribe to an API, you don't need to subscribe to API using the API Hub platform. You can simply do that all from your CLI as well. And there is a like detailed documentation I created for this, so that nobody needs to go to the platform, and like they can just simply use the CLI tools for everything they want. Now for client side, they also need to like integrate the SDK. So there is a TypeScript SDK which they integrate to make API calls. The idea here is that whenever an API call will be sent out to the API endpoint, it will send a signature along with it, and that's what the purpose which this client-side SDK fulfills. So I want to show you the setup here. This is a setup where you simply, okay, time is up. Okay, so yeah, quickly we'll just complete this. So you just simply set up the SDK by creating the interceptor and just adding an interceptor like as a middleware as well on the client side, and that's it. Now you already subscribed to the particular provider and you have added the interceptor, so we can make an API call to see if it works or not. So yeah, let's go here. We have cargo run. So I'm starting a server here, and then I will try to make a call. And so this is like basically starting to send a signature in the header, and then it will verify the signature as well as the stream on chain. And so now it has already cached it. If I just simply make a new call, it like reduces the latency because of the listener we have attached. And yeah, that's it. I'm trying to plan more updates on this, especially in terms of security. Like for example, if you were not to use this your same wallet for both the purpose, specifically like payment and all. So you can have a different wallet for a payment and the different key signing signatures. And so I'm working on that. So basically, that's kind of scope keys, and session keys could be used here for that. And the next step, the last step would be to create a global API. So I know that there are like multiple AI models right now out there, like OpenAI, Claude, and all of them. I'm trying to create a proxy server which will give you access to all of these models, but by just simply starting a stream to my endpoint. So it's kind of a marketing play here, as well as a use case which people can use. And so yeah, that's 5-gate. Open to our questions and any feedback you might have.
Oh, yeah. Corbin, go ahead with your questions.
Yeah, I love this idea. This is a really cool one. Just in tech in general, kind of the SaaS monthly billing cycle business model is kind of having some pressure and will likely go away over the next few years. And especially with agents, a lot more of these, credits and pay-per-use models. And so what you're building factors right within that. And then I also love the idea that API keys, everybody knows they're kind of a weak point security-wise. And so using, a public-private key that's matched to the streaming and payment address is very, very cool. I love it. I look forward to the API hub. I would love to go on your site and be able to browse the different APIs that I could interact with piecemeal, right? And so rather than, signing up for yet another SaaS service, I would rather go and see if I just need to make, calls once a day or something like that, I could use your service. And I also think the go-to-market of wrapping existing APIs with your streaming method is fantastic. I would use that to read Twitter data or data from Farcaster through Nanar, or I could probably put a whole bunch of ideas there. So really looking forward to the API hub. I guess just one question is, other than the LLMs, has there been an API service that has been most requested from what you've seen yet?
Yeah, so actually, people I've been hearing feedback, and there were a few ideas. This was one of them, like the global API access thing for all the AI models. So another one which I was discussing on Twitter, and with Georgios from Paradigm. Actually, this is his idea. Like this is the idea he proposed first time on Twitter, and I kind of built by connecting with him. And so the idea was that you could all the Reth nodes, they have to sync their nodes from the Genesis block, and it takes about 60 hours to sync the whole node, and it's like 1 terabyte of data. So the idea was that you could use this and create a proxy server which would back up database on a remote endpoint. And at few checkpoints, you could simply pay for one time and download the upgrade, already backed up DB until the checkpoint, and just simply sync your node to the recent one. So it would only take 4 or 5 hours in that case. And that's an idea I've been thinking to kind of explore to build on.
Very cool. I could also just see quick things like, Kayak or a booking service like Resi or something like that. Like, I don't want to maintain a monthly subscription. I just want to use it this one time because my agent needs to use it to go do something. So really cool stuff. I look forward to the API hub launching.
Thank you so much.
Cool, thanks. Any other questions from the judges?
Yeah, I'm just curious, do you have an idea in mind, or, any kind of friends or people who you think might be sort of API service providers, or people who are building API-based services, who you think you might be able to approach to see if they'd try this out, or, who you could sort of continue to co-develop it alongside?
Yeah, I mean, so there have been a bunch of people I've talked to in the past, 2-3 weeks. There were people from Wallet Connect, Rion, now Rion, and so they use API keys currently, but it's mostly free tier. And so I think they are. I'm getting a bunch of feedback from them. By economy, they are the ones who also use API keys. And when I tweeted about it, a lot of people from different companies like Merit Systems, if you have heard of Merit Systems, they are GitHub based payment service, you can say. And so I talk to them, and I feel like when I'm able to complete this on a proper prod launch, I will have their support, and I'm constantly in touch with them to get this done. And especially Georgios from Paradigm, he's supporting and he gives me an ideas and on feedback on what could be improved. So I think going forward, there are opportunities there. And yeah, especially, and yeah, sorry. Just want to add one thing here that the Superfluid team has been like very supportive in this case. Fran, Yusuf, and yeah, they've been like supportive in this idea, connecting with people. So yeah, that's been good.
Cool. Yeah, the next step here for us is once Drove has a marketplace ready, we will have a demo, like short 1 minute demo to showcase all the leads we are already in conversation with. Because like Corbin said, in this can be quite interesting for lots of API providers. And what Drove did for the client setting up KPI side, we were saying because lots of permissionless API setup will be used by developers. That's why he uses the user flow, like you can just use commands and then right after the APIs will be listed on the website. And for the normal users, you just go to the exploring and then subscribe to which APIs you want to use. But open for any feedbacks about the user flow also to see what will be the best, both for developers or client side who want to list API and also the user side who want to just subscribe and then access to APIs. All right, now we can move to the next one. Who gonna be volunteer here? We still have 4 teams, so should I hurry up? Yeah.
I can take the next. Yep.
Yeah, Shreyas, go ahead. Stage is yours.
Let me know you can see my screen.
Yep.
Yes, we can see your screen.
Perfect. So I'm Shreyas. With me is Efran. We both are working on Fluid Funds. Now, what is Fluid Funds? Fluid Fund is an investment platform that enables anyone to become a fund manager and start their own investment fund. We allow users to subscribe to these funds using Superfluid streams. It's like a DCA into an investment fund. The accumulated funds can then be used by these fund managers to invest and trade within the whitelisted assets on a DEX like Uniswap. So how does it work? A fund manager creates a fund on our platform. Users subscribe to it via USDC using Superfluid streams. The fund manager then execute trades on Uniswap or any other decentralized exchange. We currently support only Uniswap, and both fund managers and investors can then monitor these performance of these funds live through our dashboard. Let's go to our platform. Now, this is our platform, fluidfunds.xyz. Here's some information about how you can create a fund, how does it work, sort of those things. Now, these 3 are currently the active funds which are deployed on the Sepolia base testnet. You can see some information about it. Now, some of this information is hard-coded at the moment, because we deployed these yesterday and day before yesterday. So you can see the current P&L of the fund, the profit sharing with the fund manager, and the total number of streams which are going on into these funds. So if we go into the detailed fund page, here you can see the performance history of that fund and the timeline of the funds and the value and the performance history of these funds here, with the monthly return and the win rate for that. Here are the few trading insights on what the fund manager did past few days and the trades that you can track from basically. So if you want to start a stream to this fund, you can just connect your wallet. And by just clicking on a stream, you can start a stream from here. So I think I am, yeah, so let's confirm this. Okay, so while the transaction takes place, we can go back. So we have created kind of a leaderboard for these funds as well. All the active funds will be displayed here where the users can come in and see the performance of these funds, past week, past day, and past month history. So people know which fund to subscribe to. So there's also one caveat in this. There's an investment window for each fund that you can subscribe to. After this window, you can't subscribe to this fund, and only people who have already subscribed can keep their streams open. So yeah, so now you can see there are two streams going on into this fund. One is the one that I started here. For each fund, there is a token associated with it. So if you are streaming to a fund, you get back the same amount of tokens for that fund to calculate how much the user is owed to. At the end of the fund, you can come here and claim your proportion by giving this token back to the contract. Yeah, that's it from me. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Cool, thanks. Any questions from the judges about the fund manager type of product? Do you think it will be popular in the market, or do you think people want to see more fund interactions here?
Yeah, very quick question. So the dashboard that you showed for each fund, is it live? Is it actually like connected to the data from the blockchain? Because it seemed to go back to like November.
It is connected to the Sepolia testnet at the moment. Only two funds are connected. The third one is hard-coded at the moment. So we deployed the fund 2 days ago. The data which is showing on the graph is all hard-coded.
Oh, okay. But the other ones that are deployed, if you show the data, does it actually fetch the data from the blockchain?
It is fetching the data for the streams. It's not fetching the data for the trades and the flow. It is fetching the data for the TVL and the streams that you see here.
Okay. And for like the past performances, do you have any idea how you're doing that? Like, or have you already like thought of like starting to index data from your smart contracts or?
For the past performances, we are currently using Covalent APIs to track that for the moment until we can keep all the data in our backend, basically.
Got it.
So
Thanks.
Covalent has an API to see the past history of a particular wallet and the amount of tokens which are there in particular time.
That's nice. Thank you.
Cool. One of my remark here is you have like total investment. I don't think it's good idea to show, one active stream, second active stream. It's better maybe to show the total volume here. Because when you will have maybe more than 100 users who's going to subscribe to your fund, you just want to show the volume of the fund itself rather than to showing all the active streams.
Yeah, this is capped at 5. Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, second is, as Yusuf said, I think the Uniswap, because your core selling point is the fund manager is trading on your platform transparently, so others can see what kind of assets he's buying and shorting. So it's more like users can have confidence in what they are actually aping into. So make this leaderboard work, the analysis dashboard work is very important. I hope you guys can catch up with the speed. At the same time, I want to know judges' opinion about, do you think this kind of like more TradeFi type of product is gonna be difficult to go to market? Do you think there's better ideas? Like personally, I think maybe doing some copy trading will be more fun for the users nowadays. Or do you think actually fund managers gonna be interested to do it? It's a tough question.
Quite a novel idea. I don't think I've seen this before. So I'm kind of open to it. Just because it's an interesting use case of like subscribing with Stream to something that's like a financial product itself. I don't know.
Yeah, cool. Thanks. Good to know that we can still test
Thank
out,
you.
yeah, maybe people have never seen this product before. So yeah, cool. All right, I think we can move to the next project. Who's going to go next? Yeah, Datepa, you want to go? Cool.
Sure. Okay, hopefully you should be able to see this now.
Yep.
So, hi everyone. My name is Daitma and I'm building a product called Streamline with my fellow partner Giovanni over here. So Streamline is an AI agent to streamline the Superfluid protocol. Essentially, it's an AI agent that helps users understand what Superfluid is. They can ask the agent about what streams do they have, what pools are they part of, what are streams and pools essentially, and a lot of anything basically regarding anything about Superfluid protocol. There are a lot of SDK kits for building AI agent kits, and we have dabbled with a lot of them. And it's become like a tradition in my presentations to show the PRs that we have made to other ones. So we have already created a PR and merged a PR to the Coinbase's agent kit, and we got our Goat SDK plugin merged just yesterday. So anybody can use Superfluid plugins with some new create read functions on Goat SDK as well. The roadmap, as we essentially showed in from our first demo day, was in three main parts, which is firstly the agent should have core Superfluid protocol knowledge. The second is blockchain query capabilities, as in it should be able to go and query the blockchain through publicly available APIs and ABIs that are provided through Superfluid contract itself. And the lastly and the most tricky part was the subgraph queries, where we either have predefined schemas that users can ask certain complex questions about, and the agent is able to create its own subgraph queries, which Giovanni will talk later about. To explain this a bit further, I can tell you what query complexity actually looks like. If an AI agent only has protocol knowledge, you can ask questions about like what are distribution pools in Superfluid and what are actually those units in those pools. If it has blockchain queries, you can now go and ask how many units does this address have in a pool, because this is publicly exposed by the GDA forwarder and CFA forwarder. For example, what is the total flow rate of this pool as well, provided you have the pool address, provided you have the address of the person as well. And the lastly is the subgraph query, which says like what pools am I a part of. This is generally not answerable because you have to index all of the events from whenever you have created your account to whenever any streams that you have started, and who are, let's say, who are the members of this pool. So anytime a person is added or is can only be done through indexing and through subgraphs. So we have currently achieved level 2 to a very good extent, and subgraph is also has been created by Giovanni, which he'll be demoing in a moment. But the improvements from our last demo that we have made are towards three main points. First of all is the memory. The idea is that our earlier plugin had no memory at all, so you have to continuously give it the pool address to understand what pool are you asking about. But now with a SQLite database that we're using for testing, you don't have to do that. Secondly is embedding. So the query latency was quite long. It took about 30 seconds to answer a question. But now with RAG and embedding on our SQLite database, we have reduced down to about five to 6 seconds. But again, this is running on a local test machine, which I'll be demoing. If we move on to a Postgres or PG vector, this should be much faster as well. And lastly is the subgraph part, which we have already integrated into our Discord bot that Giovanni will be demoing soon. For my demo, let me show you what we have done over here. So I'm using the Eliza OS client. This can again, you can use a plugin for Twitter or Discord as well. But I've just asked it a question like, what are distribution pools? It again answers in a very flowery language, partly because I was using Dobby's character as my character file before, and that has been cached, and it's still answering that way. But you could go ahead and ask it some questions about this pool, for example. So this is the base mainnet pool for this particular frontier guild, and you can ask how many total, oh sorry, how many total connected units are in the pool. And it should ideally now go ahead. This would take a bit more time if you're able to see my VS Code as well. This goes ahead. It needs to call this tool plugin for the Goat SDK as well to answer this question. And let's see if the demo gods are with me. This should work. Okay, yeah. So it goes ahead, sends it to OpenAI. It selects the model which we have defined in the model. It gets that it needs to call the get total connected units function with the code SDK, which is now returned as 300 over here, and it got the pool address as well. And it should have responded. Yes, received response. response from the model as well, and it responds over here. So it does say that the total connected units are about 300, which is true. We have 300 total connected. We have no disconnected units. We could also go and ask, let's say, for this address, and we say, how many units does the address have in this pool? So now I don't need to actually again specify which pool am I talking about. This is because ELIZA's memory has some extent which does caching to for each chat interaction that it does for, and it needs to again go ahead and call the particular function which is get member units for this time, send it, receive the function which is 80 in this case, and then it will create craft a response and then send it over here, which we should receive. And yeah, we have received a response now. So it says we have 300 units, and this member particularly has 8 units in this pool. Again, this is running on a local machine, and we are using SQLite, which does not have the best vector embedding match, but we are moving on to Postgres and PG Vector, which should on a better machine as well, on a server loaded machine. So this should be much faster than this. For the subgraph part, I hand over to Giovanni, who will show you the Discord bot for that.
Thank you, Daitma. Now I'm going to share my screen. So in this third iteration, I work on the subgraph part. I initially wanted to build a more powerful dynamic query, but I faced some challenges, which is this one, where it's supposed to ingest the entire subgraph schema, which is this one. It's like likely 3,000 lines of code. I had to use powerful AI model, so it was expensive, slow, and not very reliable. Because of that, then I switched to more manageable approach, which is using templates. Here is the architecture of how the subgraph query works. So should start with the user asking a question on Discord. The first thing that the agent does is to plan the step that it has to do. The first thing is to individuate the chain, because Superfluid is not only on base, it's on Avalanche, on Zero, on a lot of chains. So it's need to individuate which chain the user is asking for and get the subgraph URL. And then it also has to validate the user message in the sense that the schema accepts certain type of input. Like if the user asks for is X, the schema doesn't understand is X. The schema understands the input as token address. So I have to parse the user message and validate those user message to the security input. This part is still work in progress. And then it will use the template that it finds from the user message and the parsed input to create the query schema and query the subgraph. After that, it will use the result, which is a JSON file, JSON formatted with the user message to generate the response to the users. Now let's go to Discord to see how it works. So here we have, for example, what is Superfluid? So this first question is to validate that the bot, the first step, the agent decide, do we need to use subgraph, or user is asking a general question that we don't require to use subgraph. So this is a question that doesn't require use subgraph. And so the bot is intelligent enough to just give back an answer. Then we can ask, for example, what's the shoe world? I don't know what. Okay. Then I will try to fix that. So we ask a question about, for example, what are the statistics for the address on Polygon. Oh, okay. So it's over.
No, you can continue. Just finish this part. It's more for a kindly reminder. Don't worry, Giovanni.
Yeah. Thanks. As stated in the architecture, instead of returning a JSON, the AI agent is capable of adding some insight to the user, formatting it in highlights. So user just get the most important point and suggestion on what else the user can ask. Yeah, that's it.
Cool. Yeah, I think you guys have made progress based on last time's feedbacks we have. It's not that easy actually to make agent work, honestly. Any questions from the judges here?
Yeah, I think it's pretty cool. I think you know, a lot of what you guys showed was like read access, but was there any thought of like creating ELIZA custom actions to, you know, open or switch recipients of streams, like more write type access?
Yeah, so this bot is more of a read-only bot, as in where you can only get information about yourself or about Superfluid protocol. But we have some write actions as well. For example, Yusuf already created a Fluid agent for Superfluid, which can essentially let you update the member units for a pool. So you can already create, update, or send a stream using this bot because that action is already included in the plugin, and you can update the member units for a pool. But as like we added read functions, you can easily add those write functions as well. It was just not a main focus for our project, but that is something that can be done within a day as well.
Cool.
However, maybe Yusuf, you can add something here. I think for the write function is there's risk of like disclosing your private keys, you know. So that's
Yeah, I mean, there are write functions in the Goat SDK itself, and I did use it to create Fluid Agent, which kind of rewards like users that make jokes about Superfluid on the Discord or like engage with the agents or something like that. You can think of many things you can do with that in terms of like rewarding the users with this Discord agent. But the question, like I guess to Corbin is, do you see more use case for write-in? Because write-in means that like the user will either need to give like some sort of permission on chain so that the agents can like move and create streams and stuff. And that person needs to be like a power user for them to kind of like go and do that. Or you would need to kind of like run it on a server or something, or locally with your own private key exposed, like locally or in an environment variable, something like that. So I personally think that like in terms of like touching a bigger amount of users, having agents that just like kind of fishes through the noise, and even further than this iteration, the agent should be hopefully can get like smarter in that you don't need to kind of specify a lot of the token addresses and stuff. It just kind of itself is able to guide you through the process and explain to you what does connected units mean. Like, oh, why can't I see my stream on my wallet? Well, show me which pool is it? Like, why, like, how did you get these rewards? Oh, you're part of this pool, and I can see you're not connected. Maybe you should connect and stuff like that. I see that more valuable than an agent that like manages your Superfluid portfolio. But do you see the opposite?
I just you know, some cool use cases that have been discussed, like, right, we now have agents, and so we basically can do crypto transactions and weird financial transactions straight through social media. And so you could imagine the agent could basically set up like a turnkey or a privy server wallet for every single user that ever tags it, and it just sets one up automatically for the user. They can deposit into it. And then my favorite social streaming use case is one where, like, if I ask a question of, you know, like a big, you know, big KOL like Mark Andreessen or Vitalik or something like that, you can actually do a stream that basically says like, hey, answer my question to basically claim this stream. Otherwise, all that, you know, $40 or whatever I deposited flows back to me. And so you basically put the shot clock, you know, on for them to respond to you within a certain period of time. Otherwise, those funds kind of flow out. Streaming's always been a great use case for like upping the urgency of doing something because people kind of see things moving in real time. So yeah, a lot of these things are theoretical right now, and I understand you know, some of the drawbacks of that approach, but that's just some of the fun stuff I've seen, you know, described elsewhere.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, the Privy wallet in the background makes a lot of things. Yeah, thanks for the idea. I think it's pretty cool.
Yeah, thanks for the valuable input. Graham, you want to say something also?
Oh, I was just saying, I think it's very helpful, and like I've seen some of these like crop up. Like my friend is doing Herd, which is very general on-chain contract thing like this, and it's really interesting to see it crop up like in these specific ecosystems where they can be even like more precise and helpful. So I think it's cool product, and then obviously you can add these other things like writing capabilities later.
Cool. Yeah, thanks. And I think you guys have been trying different things to make the agent works better, and congratulations for the progress so far. And we are expecting to see more later on. I'm ready to test again because sometimes the agent, the answer quality needs to be improved. So we'll see how it goes later. But right now, it's cool that you are trying different procedures to see what works actually and what doesn't work. That's already a very good, innovation here. All right. Okay. Next one. Qinghao, you ready? Yeah.
Yeah. Just ready. I still doing some debugging thing. Okay, so let me share my screen. Okay.
Cool.
Yeah. Okay. We will have some problem on our demo. Yeah. So okay. So let me do the go through the slides quickly. Our project is called DeepFlow, and our slogan is to make the value flow across open source network every second. Basically, it's oh, sorry. It's in another screen. Wait a moment. Okay, so basically it's an incentive system for open source contributors. And first, let me explain from our perspective what open source looks like. It will look like a network. You never do all the things by yourself. You always rely on some others' work. And if you share your work, you can also save others' time. So that's the cool part of open source. But the sad thing is that even someone has already build something excited in open source world, like can make a big impact, they still might be financial struggle in the real time real life, and this usually happening when they are building something is at the end of the dependency chain. Like all the people rely on them, but they didn't they never know it as like the underneath break like this graph. And so this is a problem, and many people have started doing some incentive for open source, but we're not sure if they are doing it correct. And we want to build something that be smarter and deeper and real time. The real time is already done by way involved with the Superfluid protocol. So in the last 2 weeks, we spent more time to solve the first two problems. And in the several presentation before, we cannot answer one of the key questions: how to evaluate the contribution. Like you cannot evaluate by only count the commits number or like the code line of code. Yeah, you should use some smarter way to do that. And after we do some research work, there are a lot of algorithms based on graph model. The classic one is like the PageRank used to do the recommendation for Google websites in like 20 years ago. And the good part is like we say open source is a network, and it's a complicated one. There are many different type of nodes like developer and repos, and they are connected through some pull requests and issues. And the basic idea of PageRank and other similar algorithm is like if some nodes is very has a strong impact, the nodes connected to it also have some strong impact. Like the important repo is always involved by a lot of famous developer, and if this developer paid more time on some pull requests, like they do the comments, do the code review, or they open some issues, those stuff are also usually very important. And since there is a graph, so we can run some algorithm. The basic formula is like this, and actually it's run by some metrics and iteration. The AI here is like you can make the algorithm to you can use multiple iteration to solve this problem to a stable number, and that's what we're doing. And if anyone interested, we can do some detailed explain later. And the other thing is about the deeper. And before the last 2 weeks, we solved another real problem is the nested pool. Before that, we only can flow to the first level, and now we can flow the reward to deeper levels. And how is it done? It's actually it's quite trick, and I will show you. Yeah, so let me do the demo first. Sorry. Wait a moment. Okay, so here, yeah, so our problem. This is an analysis dependent result of ELIZA OS core, and you can see it's a very large graph. And to make it clear, we can make the level like we can only show the first level. Yeah, and so here what we do is we run our algorithm and we give them a rating, and you can see this rating is actually running based on the last 2 weeks activities on GitHub with this ELIZA OS core repos. And if you see the data from GitHub, the contributor graph, you can see they align very closely, and the result is not depending on the each commit's content, but based on the graph algorithm. Yeah, so that's the first part we do, and based on that result, we can create a pool for it. Yeah, and that means we create a pool for this repo, and other can start some stream for it. Means that you can donation to it, and to show that we have a pool already created, and yeah, I can show another one because I'm not the contributor of it, so I can't claim it. But I'm the contributor of UBET SDK, so if I start a stream here, I can connect it and I can claim the stream. So in the okay, okay, so sorry. Yeah, the UBET SDK, you can see there are only 2 contributors, and but the pool for it, there are actually three members. And why is that? Because one of the member is the repo, which UBET SDK depend on, which is ethers. And how do we do the nested pool? So the owner of ethers will create a new pool, and this pool is actually already created by our contract. And the only thing we can decide is the flow rate of it. And we discussed with Superfluid team, it cannot be easily to compute it automatically because there is a long dependency. And if it's computed all automatically, there will be a lot of cost. So the way we do is that we just send the stream to this pool, but the flow rate will still decided by the owner. And the last thing is let me show how to bind the wallet. How to claim stream. And this is another super cool thing we did is like we can stream to any account, not only stream to wallet address. And how we do that, we already explained last week. And basically, it's doing some centralized signature and verify it on chain. And what we stream is we just stream to some GitHub contributors and to some GitHub repos, and the owner of this GitHub repo or of this GitHub account can log in by OAuth, and our server will verify it. And after they done that, they can claim streams. And the first thing they need to do is to claim the repo they own. And after that, they can claim the streams. Yeah, so basically that's what all of we have done, and we have write a document about how algorithm work. Basically, the formula is like this, and it means each of this vertex is a node. It can represent a developer or a repository, and since it's a graph, so we collect all the connection like into this vertex and compute it by all the overrank value. Yeah, so that's already the time. Yeah. So sorry, I can't explain it very well, but maybe you can ask me some questions. Okay, so yeah.
Thanks. Very cool. Any questions from the judges? So I think Qinghao did lots of. I'm always very impressed by their, research capability, and then put into execution in just 2 weeks. For example, what he showcased here is how they evaluate the contribution impact of each contributor for each repo, GitHub repo, and they use this formula here. And with several iteration, you can go into a convergence score. So that's what he showcased before with Eliza's repo. And then the second module is how to distribute funds to the first level of your GitHub contributors using Superfluid. The third one is, if you are a contributor, how can you connect and then claim that stream? So any questions here?
Just a question. I think we talked earlier about potentially adding some layer of like LLMs to add to the evaluation. Do you think that eventually that could be an idea that is relevant in any way to make sure that like the contributions are more quality than any of these like metrics that you can calculate?
Sorry, can you say that again?
Yeah, sorry. So we talked before about you using something like large language models to kind of add a layer of
Yeah.
evaluation of the quality of the contributions. Do you still think this is something that could be interesting?
Yeah, we try that, but I think the result is not very good. The one important thing is because I don't think it can. It's like every time you evaluate, the result is not exactly the same. Like if you want it to give you a rating number, it's not. It just cannot do it. The number is because I think deep down is still a statistical model, so it cannot do a fair judge in the whole ecosystem. But what we are doing is we want to use another model to do the judge part for the large language model, and then use the large language model to like do some action. One thing we're discussing with Superfluid team, especially on the front-end guide, is if this system work, we can use a large language model to be one of the judges of this frontier team, and it will collect all the data from GitHub, and in the future maybe collect some other data like the transaction, and let the large language model get all the rating from other system, and they can do some easier, not that mathematical evaluation. And I think that's something large language model might be good at. Yeah.
Yeah, I think maybe not, but maybe are they good, for example, at evaluating the novelty of the code? I think that's something they could be good at. But yeah, rating, no, it's not their thing.
Yeah. So that's it also on the plan.
Yeah. And any other questions? Nope.
I just
Graham?
had a comment that I think it's like this is one of the like most important things that I think the industry wants to solve is like how do you incentivize these open source developers better using crypto, and then bringing in the sort of reputation algorithms from OpenRank is a really good idea, and yeah, it's quite exciting as a concept.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks. Maybe we can also help you guys to evaluate some projects in your ecosystem to see which one are your best contributors. Yeah. Cool.
Oh, one thing more is we do a leaderboard for Elisa, and like this is, and we can do it based on time. Like some team are interested the whole contribution in the history, but sometimes they only want to like know like in the past 2 weeks. I think it's also something that Superfluid team interested in, and if any other people interested in, we can also do the leaderboard for them. And we're also doing another very cool visualization version, like it's a 3D version, like the GitHub developer looks like the stars in the galaxy, something like that. But maybe we can show it next week, next time. Yeah. So thanks.
Cool, still great job. And I think you can share to the Eliza founder. I mean, you can say, okay, we have developed this. Probably it will be interesting for you to see as well. Maybe have some information you haven't discovered yet. I think it's always makes sense to, showcase to them, and then you will see if you will get any feedback from them. All right?
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Okay, cool. Now let's move on to our last project. Nida, you ready? Yeah?
Yes, I'm ready. Hello,
Thank you.
guys. Let me share. Hello, so this is I'm presenting so demo day 3 for Astroblock. I will show you quickly what Astroblock is. It's basically a multiplayer game that you can play in a forecaster frame. Connects you to a server and you can play live with other players. The goal of the game is pretty simple. You connect you connect and you have to shoot some blocks. And then you have a leaderboard, a score, and a rank. And the higher you rank on the leaderboard, the higher you stream you get. And the stream is updated every 30 minutes. So basically, it's a nice continuous way to get rewarded for your performance. Yes. So for this week, I have some results, and what I've also you get a small notification. I just saw it on my phone, but yeah, here you go. I just scored some points. So compared to last week, I did some engagement. We've gained 211 followers. I will talk about those ships that we shipped, I think, last week. And I had an increase of volume for Astro, which is the game token. And also, which I shipped Astro Swap, which is a swap widget, native swap widget in the frame that I'll show you right there. So basically, this ships. So we've had 50 minted. Sorry, I have to sign in. At 50 minted here. You can click on one mint. And also what I wanted to show was, the swaps. So basically it was, I wanted to have, it would be simple for people to go buy some Astro here. So you can click, and then you have your swaps here that I built with the 0x project. And I thought it was cool, but a few days later, Warpcast released the wallet. So
Still get some. I think I got $200 worth of volume, but yeah, that's still good to have this little button here. Yeah, that's what's been shipped. So now for what I talked about last week was the game mode is not really strong, and the game design I meant is not really strong and doesn't really have incentives for people to come back and share their progress and stuff like this. So what I said last week was I wanted to add a different game design that's more focused on getting people to play every day or on a regular basis and gets some more finer metrics on their progress and on their results. And also, so the engaging team scores, so that I just showed you, and I will show you more. So what I've been building this past 2 weeks is also so around these team scores. So the goal now of the game is just going to be to fly around and mine some resources. So it's just going to be, instead of actively shooting, you're going to be just collecting resources, kind of like the games. I don't know if you've tried some of the games that are actually live on Farcaster in Frames. They're just small collecting games that you play, and they're really addictive. And it's a game design that's trial and tried, and this is what I'm gonna be focusing on. And so I have implemented periods, seasons, and streaks. So that's again a classic method to have people come back. And so periods is going to be 1 day, seasons, and then streaks, so that people are incentivized not to break them and things like this. Team leaderboard, and then I have daily tasks and also pay to play. So let me show you what this looks like. Here we go. I'll jump in a game real quick. This is my testnet for this game mode. So you can fly around, you can get to a mining position, you can start mining, and then you'll see the flow of points these are not live on-chain token streams, they're just gamified, but I could plug in token streams in the future if I want to. And then I can stop, move on to another place and mine some other stuff. Then I can leave. And here I will find so this is the team leaderboard where you can see all the cool metrics. So for example, I have my streak. It's the first period I score in. This is my period score. I have a bunch of UI work to finish, but it won't look like this when it's done. And yeah, and then you can see here all the teams. So you have a build team, hire team, Moxie, and all this stuff, and you can see the scores. This is per periods, but I'll have filters where you can see the overall, the per season, per period, etc. So yeah, I think I covered most of it. Yeah, that's it for me. Thank you.
Thanks. Cool. I like the mining new feature so that they didn't just shoot the blocks, but do something else. Any questions from the judges here?
I'll just say I think it's awesome. I think like the combination of like simple, familiar gameplay, but then having interesting crypto primitives kind of on the back end is like super powerful, especially through Farcaster. But now we can launch on, the World app, Telegram, and stuff as well. So you really have the ability to kind of scale something like this once you get the game mechanics right on Farcaster. I would definitely recommend trying to do something around streaming. One thing that worked really well for a project I once had was basically like when you go to kind of like mine something, having a bit of chance in there, right? And so like, maybe 1 out of 10, you get like a 10x boost. Or normally it's just a 1x, or sometimes you get a 2x boost or a 3x boost. And so adding a little bit of chance in there seems to really resonate with users. And then maybe those rewards are streamed to you over time. And if you break your streak, you break your stream, right? And so it kind of, pushes people to come back and get that kind of daily behavior. But very cool.
Thank you. Thank you for the ideas.
Yeah, great idea to have the user retention request them to come back. There's a reason for them to come back and playing and trying new features. Any other questions here?
Not a question, but I just want to say it's a great advancement, and it's good to see Nizar kind of like shifting from like developer mode to builder mode and doing a lot more marketing and like cross promotion stuff like that. So it's really cool to see.
Thank you. Thank you, Youssef.
Thanks. Yeah, it's not easy as a builder, lots of builders like to build a product, but go to market is actually even more difficult than just, building the game itself. So everybody is learning. I think Neza is also gaining lots of experience. Mark and Lee is taking feedback as well. So right now, I think every team who is really approaching to the finish point, the go-to-market is a focus right now for all of you, and we are here to support you. And but you too also needs to get innovative, needs to see like speed the iteration, just get something out there, and then you can iterate later. All right. Okay, well, we actually finished earlier than we thought before, and I think the timer works better this time than last demo day, and that was great. And I'm really appreciate also Corbin and Grammy and Youssef and VJ joining us as a judge today. And I'm really proud of all the progress of all the teams today as well. I'm Yao, or AKA Soleil, leading the ecosystem here. And we'll be happy to see all the teams in the next demo day, which will be our final demo day, which will be on the Tuesday, March the 4th. And by then, there will be still a lot of progress to go. And if judges want to give other feedbacks outside the demo day, you can find the teams publicly. You can also send me a message if you want to engage with the teams later to help them grow, to help them go to market, etc. All right? Okay. Well, let's stop here today. Thanks a lot, everyone. It was a really nice demo day, and keep up. Let's see you in the next time. Okay? All right. Thanks.